rehabilitation services, inclusive of treatment, medication, and rehabilitation services to all referred and walk-in clients. In view of the foregoing, Cabinet resolved as follows: that a provincial task force framework should be strengthened in order to support all district programs, activities, and also ensure that the chiefs and religious leaders at all local districts must be activated. This should also include local political leaders who should be involved in the provincial task force. That the drug and substance abuse programs should be aligned to the Civil Protection Unit framework, which is comprehensive. That the Resource Mobilization Committee be chaired by the Ministry of Local Government and Public Works, and in order to utilize resource mobilization structures in the Civil Protection Unit. That the command center be activated in order to fully support the program in its day-to-day operations. That parliamentarians be integrated in the drug and substance abuse programming at sub-national level. Cabinet also considered and approved the signing and ratification of the protocol to the African Charter on Human and People's Rights of Citizens to Social Protection and Social Security, as presented by the Minister of Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, Honorable Ziambi Ziambi, as the chairperson of the Cabinet Committee on Legislation. The nation is being informed that the protocol provides for the right to social protection and social security to all citizens in a non-discriminatory manner. It extends the right to vulnerable groups like women, children, persons with disabilities, and informal rural communities, with the aim of changing lives and eradicating poverty. The nation is advised that the protocol provides for instances where social assistance should be rendered and when citizens should make social protection contributions that will protect them during maternity, retirement, or sickness, among other issues. The state is also obliged to adequately fund social protection systems, the health sector, the agricultural sector, as well as other relevant sectors in order to eradicate poverty. Cabinet considered and approved Zimbabwe's accession to the International Convention on the Protection of the Rights of All Migrant Workers and Members of their Families, as presented by the Minister of Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, Honorable Ziambi Ziambi, as the chairperson of the Cabinet Committee on Legislation. The nation is being informed that the convention is a comprehensive international treaty focusing on the protection of the rights of all migrant workers and the members of their families, as required by the International Labour Organization, and various instruments concerning human rights, including the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and it seeks to address the vulnerability of migrant workers and members of their families in foreign lands. The convention provides migrant workers and their families the following rights, among others: to leave any state, including their state of origin, to enter and remain in their state of origin, to hold opinions without interference, to the freedom of thought and equal protection from heavy penalties, and also not to be subjected to torture or to cruel or inhuman treatment, not to be deprived of property, and the right to protection and assistance from consular or diplomatic authorities of their state, and the right to equal working conditions with nationals of the state. The Minister of Higher and Tertiary Education, Innovation, Science and Technology Development, as Acting Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, Honorable Professor Emon Murugira, briefed Cabinet on preparations for the SADC summit to be held in 2024. The nation is being informed that Zimbabwe, as the incoming chair for the regional organization, will host the summit in Harare at the new Parliament building at Mount Hampton in August 2024, inclusive of senior officials and ministerial preparatory meetings. 10 subcommittees at senior officials level, each with a lead ministry, have been set up to coordinate the thematic areas under their purview. The nation will be kept abreast of developments on the matter. The Minister of Higher and Tertiary Education, Innovation, Science and Technology Development, as Acting Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, Honorable Professor Buhera, gave an update on Zimbabwe's participation at the Osaka Expo in the year 2025. The nation is being informed that Zimbabwe will participate at the Osaka Expo 2025 to be held in Japan from the 13th of April to the 13th of October 2025, which will be held under the theme Designing Future Society for Our Lives. His Excellency the President, Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa, has already approved that Zimbabwe hosts its National Day on the 16th of July 2025. The Minister of Higher and Tertiary Education, Innovation, Science and Technology Development, Honorable Professor Buhera, who is also the Acting Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, briefed the Cabinet on the retreat of African Union Ministers of Foreign Affairs and Ministers of Finance on the evaluation of Agenda 2063 and the accelerating in terms of the implementation of the second 10-year implementation plan. The nation is being informed that the retreat took place in Kigali, Rwanda, from the 1st to the 3rd of October 2023, under the theme Accelerating the Implementation of the Agenda 2063. The purpose of the meeting was held to discuss the outcomes of the evaluation of the first 10-year implementation plan of the Agenda 2063 and to provide strategic direction for the second 10-year implementation plan, as well as provide guidance on financing mechanisms and the division of labor for the successful implementation of the second 10-year plan. Regarding the implementation of the projects under the first decade of Agenda 2063, the nation is advised that the COVID-19 pandemic, the world food crisis, the impact of climate change, as well as debt servicing, which has constrained member states in the implementation of the Agenda 2063 during the first 10-year implementation plan. The nation is, however, advised that considerable progress was recorded in the implementation of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area and the Single African Air Transport Market. On the financing of Agenda 2063, the meeting noted the skewed allocation of resources by the African Union towards peace and security at the expense of the 6 aspirations of the first 10-year plan. The meeting agreed that the success of the second 10-year implementation plan will be achieved through leveraging on the national development plans. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for the presentation. I now call upon members of the press to pose questions on the presentation, and the chair and the Honorable Ministers here will respond to the questions. As usual, we have 2 rounds of three questions per round. So we start the first round, first 3 questions. Yes.
Oh, thank you. The outbreak is fast spreading in other areas like Zaga. That is the cholera outbreak.
Sorry, my name is
Oh, my name is Silvester from ZTN. The cholera outbreak is fast spreading in other areas like Zaka. At what point can Zimbabwe consider intercity movement restrictions to contain the outbreak?
Yes, any other question or clarification? Yes.
Abigail Temple from CBC News. It's a follow-up from Sita's question. Seeing that last night, my question directed the Minister of Health and Childcare. Seeing that last night we recorded some cases in Gutu, we previously didn't have many cases, there were 26. Are there any plans in motion to also curtail the spread of the disease in Gutu so that it doesn't get to the levels where Buhera is right now?
Are there any plans to
curtail the spread of the disease so that it doesn't emulate what Buhera is experiencing right now?
Any other question? Chair, it seems there are no further questions. Have responses to those two questions.
Okay. Thank you, Chief Secretary. Honorable Dr. Mobesho, all the questions have been related to first what the authorities are considering in terms of barring intercity movement, and the second one is related to how best can the government curtail the spread of the disease. These are the two questions.
Thank you very much for your questions. The first one, yes, the cholera has spread to other districts, not Zaka only. Actually, 41 districts in Zimbabwe have had cholera cases. But we mention more of Buhera because that's where we have most of the cases. Or we can then sum it up and say Manicaland, and followed by Masvingo. As you know, Masvingo and Manicaland, they border. And the cases started surfacing firstly in Bikita, then Zaka, and now in Gutu. But the same measures that we have taken, we have activated all our cholera response nationwide, even in districts where we have not had cases. We've just actually made all the people aware and to scale up the surveillance and the monitoring. But yes, in Zaka we have had a number of cases there, as well as in Bikita, and recently 2 days ago in Gutu. It has not reached a stage where you say there will be ban of intercity travel. In fact, we have never done that, even when we had a huge outbreak in Harare, because this is not like a contagious disease where you cough and like COVID. It's not. It's actually when you eat your feces, in short, you have taken the wrong food, or through drink or through food. So basic hygiene, that is what we are encouraging now all provinces to scale up their awareness in the communities through traditional leaders, through church leaders. It is not likely to be the same as in Buhera, because there is an element of the religious objectors who do not seek medical attention, who do not really send their children to school, so their knowledge is slightly less as compared to other districts. That's why it was a bit difficult in Buhera when the epidemic erupted again in Buhera, and that's why we made extra efforts in Buhera to reach out to the religious leaders and to reach out to the traditional leaders, so we will not get to the stage of banning intercity movements. In Gutu, like I've said, it's another district. It's one of the 41 districts I'm saying they've been affected. There was a flare-up in Gutu in the last 2 days. We have activated our systems there, and we are waiting for more information from the PMD, from Masvingo, and the provincial and the district medical officer to give us an update to see exactly where the cases came from. In most cases, you will find that they will probably originate from one area, either through a funeral or some gathering of some sort. This is why you have heard that Cabinet has made a decision that all gatherings should be supervised and all burials should be supervised. I think those are measures that were put in place throughout the country, especially where cholera cases have been reported. Good to include it. I thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mubesha. Over to you, Chief Secretary.
Yes, we had 2 questions in the first round. Do we still have anyone who still wants to ask our honorable ministers here present?
There's someone.
Yes.
Abigail Temple from ZBC. My question is on the issue of liquor stores and bottle stores. You mentioned that we've got about 244 bottles, bottle stores and 197 bars monitored. What are they being monitored for? Is it drugs only, or and then how many have been found on the wrong side? Because we have noted some kids as young as 10 or 14 frequenting these places. What exactly are they being monitored for?
There's another one.
Yes, any?
Statutory advisor from ZTM.
Yes.
Across the CBD, we have seen a recent trend of large buildings being repurposed to liquor stores. Is this a reflection of our economy, of how our economy is now structured?
Sorry? Can you recast the question again?
Okay, I said across the CBD, we have seen a recent trend of huge buildings being repurposed to liquor stores. Is this a reflection of how our economy is now structured?
And you're repurposing buildings into bottle stores.
Yes, any other question? Over to you, Chair.
No one. Anyway. So I wish to answer this one. Thank you. I think I indicated that the liquor licensing board conducted alcohol outlets compliance inspections across the country, which also includes all our cities, our municipalities, towns, and rural areas. In the total of 244 bottle stores, 197 bars, 90 nightclubs, and 145 other outlets were monitored principally for compliance purposes in order to curb drug and substance abuse. Because what we've come to realize is that some of these alcohol outlets have been used as centers where drugs and substances have been distributed from. But with respect to the second question, I do not think it reflects the new architecture in terms of development, but perhaps to say that the focus of the liquor licensing board is to ensure that we are on top of the situation in order to curb drug and substance abuse. That's the major objective. And at the same time, as they do the inspections, the arrests are made, licenses are cancelled, the other outlets are also deregistered so that there is compliance. As this has been declared by the President, Dr. Edim Nangagwa, as one of the biggest disasters that we need to liquidate as a country. Thank you.
Any other question before we come to the end of this post-cabinet briefing? Any other question? Thank you very much. There seems to be no further questions. Honorable Chair, honorable ministers, thank you very much for attending today's post-cabinet briefing. We'll meet again next week. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.